Hey folks, Judd Zolgad, Derek Wetmore, 1500ESPN.com. Thanks for visiting our website. We are at Target Field where the Twins lost in their home opener today by a final score of 8-3. And Derek, before we start off with what happened on the field today at Target Field, during the course of the game, a trade was announced. And I think that trade caused some people to go, huh, and what? But actually, it's pretty important.
Yeah, Twins traded with the Yankees for Eduardo Nunez. He's a former shortstop prospect, but he's kind of played everywhere on the diamond. Not particularly well, I might add. His knock has kind of been that he's a guy, he can hit a little bit. He hits just a little bit better than a major league average shortstop, but he can't play consistent defense at any spot that he's played. He platooned a lot at second base. He's played some short, third, corner outfield spots. In fact, I think the only spots he hasn't played, catcher and center field.
What's the upside?
The upside, that's a good question. The funny thing to me is it seems like the Twins are in a spot where they should be gambling more on upside rather than taking a 26-year-old former prospect who's shown that he can't really field. But I will say this, it might be a buy low opportunity. Okay. The Yankees might have just been casting this guy off. In fact, I saw a lot of the Yankees writers tweeting that, holy cow, how did they even get anybody for this guy? So maybe he's a guy the Twins think they can straighten him out, and there's not much of a price. They gave up prospect Miguel Solberon. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that last name. He's a guy who came over in the Drew Butera trade from the Dodgers last year, 20-year-old lefty pitcher out of Venezuela. Just a trade that doesn't seem like it has a lot of cost. There might not be a lot of added benefit either, besides roster depth.
And so Nunez will go to Rochester.
Yep, that's right. There. So he's added to the 40-man roster, but they've outrighted him, or not. I'm sorry, not outrighted. Added him to the 40-man roster, and he will report to AAA Rochester.
If and when he is called up by the Twins, what can we expect? Who would be the next guy to go?
That's a good question. I don't know how they're going to deal with it. He's kind of like in the same role as an Eduardo Escobar or a Jason Bartlett. I don't know if we'll see Jason Bartlett back again, but he's costing the Twins $1 million.
I predicted today no.
Will.
I think we've seen the last of Jason Bartlett.
I'm not sure.
Unless you can send him to Rochester and actually just have him play left field there and develop him there. Phil and I went back and forth on this, Mackie and I, but I don't see how you can have a guy playing left field in the big leagues who can't play left field.
Yeah.
If you develop him there and get him okay.
He looked lost on Sunday.
He looked completely lost.
Yeah, he looked lost on Sunday.
Which is not fair to him or the team, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Twins were kind of handcuffed, though. They don't have a lot of outfield options.
Okay, I wrote a column after today's game about the starting pitching. It's okay.
It's all right.
I didn't mail it in completely, but it's about the starting pitching. And so far, the Twins are 3-4, correct? 7 games in. They have their starters, I think, are a combined 1-3. The rest are no decisions. Kevin Correa got hit around today a little bit, 5 2/3, 9 hits, 6 runs, all earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. This comes on the heels of a Ricky Nolasco start on Sunday that drove me up the wall because the Twins were basically saying to him, take the game and win it.
Right.
Your assessment, and I know statistically we're 7 games into a 162-game season, but your assessment so far of the starting pitching, and are you convinced that this is just a matter of time before it rights itself? Or if you're the Twins, or if you're a Twins fan, are you saying, yeah, but?
Well, there's layers to that answer. I think
that's right. You're the expert. No, that's the question.
I talked to Ricky Nolasco before the games. A couple of rough starts. You know, everyone's talking. You're the $49 million man, and now you're pitching like this. But he kind of laughed that off as, and I agree with him. 2 starts in the "What have you done for me lately" league. I get why fans would be upset. But we've got a lot of data points that suggest he's going to be competent. In fact, fairly worthwhile pitcher having out there. I expect the Ricky Nolasco ship to get righted. Kevin Correa, what you saw today, he's not that great of a pitcher. He's okay. He belongs on a major league staff somewhere, but he's more like a 5th guy from my perspective. The starting pitching on the whole, I expect will get better than what we've seen in the first 7 games. But Kyle Gibson's really the only one that turned in a good start.
Yes.
Some of them just aren't good pitchers. Others have pitched below their performance.
In fact, I looked it up. The first 2 starts of the season, the starting pitcher went 6 innings in each start. And since then, I think they have not got anybody through the 6th.
Yeah.
Or through 6 complete. So.
I think the Twins probably expect about 6 innings out of their starters, and then they got a pretty good bullpen.
Let's wrap this up with replay. We saw a replay today at Target Field. The situation was this. I've got this in my scorebook here, Jed Lowry, fly ball down the right field line, home run or no home run. They said no home run. They reviewed it. So this is basically a 2014, 13, 11 replay review because home runs have been reviewed for a few years now. But what we're seeing, Derek, and you tell me this, is the amount of time these things are taking.
Yeah.
Nothing that goes wrong with replay surprises me because I think baseball people didn't know what to expect, and they're trying to learn on the fly.
Yeah.
But this timing issue to me has got to be something that's tightened up, right?
Well, I wrote about this on my 5 Thoughts column, 1500ESPN.com, if you want to check that out. It's a work in progress, and baseball's admitting that. We've just got to roll it out. We got to figure out the bugs. Gardenhire said before the game today, or maybe it was after the game. I can't remember. They're working out the kinks.
Together.
Yeah, it sort of does. I don't know.
Yeah, he said that after the game.
They're ironing out the problems. I mean, you're not going to know the problems, really. Some of them you can't foresee. Something like this, though, my biggest problem with it today, Judd, fans were left in the dark for the 5 or so minutes that it took. They don't know what's being reviewed. Right. The NFL announces, hey, the Saints are challenging the spot of the ball. Okay, we know what they're looking at.
Yep.
Can debate it back and forth, whether I'm watching on TV or in the stands with my buddies. We can talk about that. Baseball, it's in this one. It's clear they're reviewing a home run, but there's some it's not so clear cut. You don't know what they're talking about.
Sunday at Cleveland.
Yep, that's
Trevor
a great example.
Plouffe scores a run. Francona challenges it. Now, what's interesting today is the assumption in Target Field today was that the A's had challenged the home run. Home runs, you don't challenge.
They're automatic reviews.
They're automatic
it's a
reviews.
Boundary.
So the A's kept their review, but Sunday in Cleveland, Plouffe's at third. He tags. He scores the run. Mm-hmm. What we don't know is what the Twins are challenging. Now, I think they were challenging whether or not Plouffe actually touched home plate, which he did.
The Indians were challenging.
Yes, I'm sorry. So Cleveland, Francona challenged that, but what was weird about the whole thing was I don't think you're allowed to challenge appeals. And the other weird thing was the Indians did the old school appeal, which is the pitcher has to step on the rubber, the umpire calls time in, and you throw to third base for the appeal. Well, according to the replay rules, once he steps on the rubber, it triggers the next series of plays, and so the play wasn't even reviewable. So, one, nobody in the stadium or at home knew what the heck was going on, including Ron Gardenhire, and two, the actual challenge should not have been allowed because by going back to the rubber to appeal the play, which is an old school thing that you can do, you have triggered the next series of plays. So this is our problem. The people in New York, the umpires, don't understand exactly what they're doing. And God forbid, here's my fear. God forbid we're going to get to a really important game and some weird thing none of us have thought of is going to be triggered by some weird, and this is where all hell's going to break loose.
It's a work in progress, and I think they're trying to figure out all those problems.
Which is, I think, okay in April. But what happens if it gets to the playoffs?
Oh, in October, you don't want replay to decide.
Joe Torre and Tony La Russa are great baseball guys, but you know what? They have no clue what's going on with replay. I'm 44. I have no clue.
You know what I think we should do?
But you're young.
I think we should do a podcast on that. Maybe a Sports Over Beer sometime.
That's a nice plug. 1500ESPN.com. It's your home for Sports Over Beers. It's your home for podcasts of all sorts from our programming on 1500 ESPN. And we appreciate you coming to 1500ESPN.com. I'm Judd Zolgad. He's Derek Wetmore. Twins lose and lots to talk about.